I truly am in this spot of loving what I am doing and putting the boundaries in place to feel hella good with what I say yes to and what I say no to. I want them to truly understand that this 30-minute concept is so doable, even from building the foundation of their business to actually applying it on Instagram.
The possibilities are endless, right? There's a lot of opportunity and flexibility to how you want to structure your business.
Exactly.
And that is freedom in a nutshell.
Hey creators, it's your hosts, Natalie and Yasmin, and you're listening to the Course Creation Podcast. We'll talk business, building digital empires, and how to create passive income to start living a life you love. We are here to empower those of you who are thinking of starting your own course and to support those who are already well on their way to success. We've built a 7-figure media agency on unique storytelling, and now we're here to share our story in the course creation world, and more importantly, to hear yours. We are committed to creating a space for learning and a space for diversity and inclusion. Now let's get the show started. 3, 2, 1, action. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Course Creation Podcast. Today we have another boss lady in the house with us, Lisa Downer. She's the corporate side hustler. Lisa is an HR manager by day and a content mentor by night, and she's also a mom. As an HR professional, she has coached and trained executive leaders to find their dream jobs and career. She's also a career coach and helps women in the corporate industry build their online presence through connection, Instagram visibility, and effective time management to help build an engaged and loyal following. Lisa, it's so great to have you here with us. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here. This is such an honor.
Wow, amazing. We're so glad to have you. So starting off, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Tell us what you're all about, what you're up to. Basically, Lisa in a nutshell.
Yeah, absolutely. So I am currently living in sunny, very hot South Florida with my husband, who is actually my childhood best friend. So that is a fun thing. Our anniversary is on Thursday, 2 years. Nice. I am a mom as well. Thank you. I'm a mom to 11-month-old, and you guys probably can't see it because I'm wearing black, but I'm also expecting with my second.
Oh, congrats.
Juggling all those things as I'm also, as you already mentioned, Yasmin, juggling the HR job and a healthcare company that is quite demanding, especially during all things COVID. And then on top of that, running my side business. So it's funny. My husband will always say, he's like, I am still so impressed how you're able to manage it all and still keep smiling. And I'm like, yep, it's because I truly am in this spot of loving what I am doing and putting the boundaries in place to feel hella good with what I say yes to and what I say no to.
Love that.
Amazing.
Love that.
Thank
and
you.
Congrats on expecting. I'm also a mama of one. So I'm always like my friends who have more than one baby. I'm like, oh my God, I don't know how you do it. And it's amazing. And I just look up to you because it's just like, I'm just still trying to get over the first ones. So
Listen. I tell my husband that all the time. I'm like, did we make the right decision jumping in so quick? Because she's only 11 months. So we haven't even allowed our time to just process that. So trust me, I get it.
Oh my God. Okay. So let's go back a little bit. Let's talk about, your background and where you came from and how you got here. So you were in the corporate world. Are you still in the corporate world now?
Still in the corporate world. Yep. So I was actually working for Target right out of college, got recruited for them. And they painted a really great growth track record for me that if I were to stay with the company, that I could really progress fast. The company Target actually brought me from Florida to Atlanta, and I was climbing the corporate ladder really, really quickly. So I was doing all the things. I was working really long hours, actually 70-hour work weeks. I was missing holidays because I was working retail. I was missing even weddings and certain events that were happening throughout my life because I was just so obsessed with getting to this next position. And it was spring of 2014. I was getting ready to interview for what I thought was the job, like the job that I worked so hard to get. It was the job that I had my eye on when I said yes to working for Target. It was a job that I knew that if I landed this job, it would define success. So as I was sitting outside, though, waiting for my name to be called to go into this interview, I was ridiculously nervous. Now, not nervous because let's be honest, interviews can be nerve-wracking. I was nervous I was about to make the biggest mistake. Because if I was being honest with myself in that time, I was actually really playing around with this idea of starting my own business, creating my own rules, and being my own boss. But I wasn't active online. So I didn't really know about entrepreneurs in the online space. So I kind of was in the space of, can I really do this? Would it be even smart for me to walk away from this opportunity and start something fresh, not really knowing it? But the feeling was so overwhelming that I had to just trust it. So I went through with the interview, but I ended up quitting 2 weeks later, moving out to Colorado with 5 of my close friends, which is another story for another day, and started growing my business on the side. So I did go back to a corporate job, but it was a smaller company. So I could still have some income coming in as I was kind of fumbling around with how do I define this business and what would this business look like?
Incredible. Wow. It's unbelievable how a moment like that feeling, that like gut instinct, you just like, you knew what the right thing was for you and you acted. And you had to go through that. It was part of your journey to go through the experience and then to be able to identify that it was just not the right way.
Hands down. Hands down.
So
yeah, go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt you. So you started your own business. So it was still in career coaching, correct? Tell us how your own business evolved, what you were focusing in, and how you built your community around the business.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's when I started. I threw myself into Facebook and I was like, all right, I can actually grow a following. I can start my email list. I started following people like Amy Porterfield, Marie Folio. Those were the 2 individuals I probably looked to, and Jenna Kutcher I looked to for real big inspiration on what does this look like for me. And a lot of what they were talking about was leaning into my earlier version of myself. So becoming a career coach felt very in line because I'm like, okay, well, I've been doing HR for almost 10 years. Why not continue to work with other corporate women that are looking to transition into the next role, looking to promote or potentially get another job? But as I was working with these women, there was this great win of, oh, this is going well. Like, people are saying yes to my packages. People are signing up. I have this now beautiful website. But the more that I was pouring into these women to climb the corporate ladder, the more there was like a lack of alignment there, if you will, because I no longer wanted to climb the corporate ladder. And I felt like I was teaching these women the ways of climbing it, and it just didn't feel right. Other part of pivoting is I was also going to leave corporate and solely focus on this business. But then the recession hit in 2018, and my husband and I just we just got married. So all these things changed, and he's like, all right, is it really smart to kind of go on your own? And that's when my business actually took a pivot to what is the number one thing that I can actually do and give my community that would still help me bring in a profit, but also still make an impact. And that's when I switched over to social media and really helping women who are in the same spot as me that was like, you know what, I need some additional income so I can pay off debt. I need additional income so I can have some savings. Because when you're salary, the only option you have to get more money is to get promoted. You can't work overtime on your salary. So I felt this pull to still work with these corporate women, but how do I now pivot to make sure that I'm helping them with gaining that visibility, using specifically Instagram without spending countless hours? Because let's be honest, most of us are probably still working 60, 70 hours a week. And that's when everything changed. So from 2018 to present, I switched over to social media.
Amazing. Amazing. Let's talk about social media then. Because we've been told countless times the number of followers you have does not equal the number of leads. But I feel like a lot of your message is take the time to really craft your audience on Instagram, because what's the end goal there? Could we turn those followers into qualified leads?
Hands down. I think there was definitely a time, don't get me wrong, where even certain brands wouldn't even look at you from an affiliate perspective if you didn't have a certain amount of following, or a certain amount of followers, I should say. But something changed. And I honestly think it changed late 2018 into 2019, where micro influencers were starting to really pick up wind. And there was a lot more energy around, instead of focusing on the next 10 or 100 new followers that you could get, why not focus on the 10 or only 100 that you have? Because if you can really build that relationship with them, you can turn those cold leads into warm leads, into hot leads. And over time, I can tell you right now, I've had the gamut of 100 few followers to 26,000 followers. And I am telling you right now, I've only truly probably engaged with 100 or less of them. So having a big following doesn't mean that it's going to make you profitable. Having a smaller community that you can actually connect with, that you can call them by name, you can actually identify the one personal thing about them, is going to allow those individuals to be so loyal to you that no matter what you offer, they're going to come back to you time and time again. So it's not about the number. It's about building that authentic relationship with those individuals that are currently following you, and not worrying about the next set of people that are going to start following you.
That's a great point. And Lisa, so when you are building that authentic relationship with your followers, how do you engage with them? What's a great way to actually get to know them? Do you spark up a conversation in the DMs, which is one way? Do you get them to, fill in a survey or a quiz? What are some strategies that we can use to really get to know our followers?
I associate everything like with dating, to be honest. So, and the reason why I say that is the strategy I use will at times, I think to some people feel a little bit like very strategic, but I think dating, it should be very strategic. So when I'm looking through my following, I have an idea of 10 to 15 people that I want to build a relationship with. So when I find these individuals, what I first do is I creep through their profile, just like I would if I found someone on Tinder or Bumble or whatever the case might be. I want to know a little bit about them, and I want them to know that I'm checking them out. So I actually like a few of their posts on a Monday, as an example. And then when I notice that they haven't creeped back on my account, I then go and I leave an intentional comment on one of their posts. So that means physically reading what they wrote. And I might have to read a few different posts and to figure out which one's connecting to me. Because if they wrote about their cats, I'm not going to write like, oh, how cute's your cat, if I don't freaking like cats. Mm-hmm. I'm going to find that connection, so that way when I'm putting it out there and they reach back out to me, it's a genuine connection. If they're still not engaging with me, again, it's like dating. I'm going to keep pursuing them, so that way they know that I'm interested in getting to know you. That's when I engage in their stories, because I think stories are a little bit more personal, because the second you engage with someone's stories, you're now sliding into their DMs, and that's where the relationship becomes a little bit more intimate. But by the time that I get there, they've now seen me in their activity feed. They know that I've been creeping on their page. And when I slide into their DMs, again, it's only from a place of, hey, and this is what you said in the beginning, Natalie, like, I have one child. I already instantly feel connected to you. Mm-hmm. So I would do the same thing. Like, oh, you're pregnant? So am I. Like, what cravings do you have? Like, what new outfit are you wearing during this time? Like, it's a lot easier to build that relationship. And automatically that person's going to put their defense wall down and not think about me pitching to them down the road, because I'm not. I'm building a relationship, so that way you start to like me, you start to know me, you start to trust me. And as you're following me back, you'll see my Instagram stories where I'm giving you the value from a business perspective. So that way that person's now asking me about my business versus me pitching to them.
Amazing. I mean, I love the dating analogy. It's such a good way to look at it. Because I'm also like, if I was a single mom right now and I had to date right now, I would be like, oh my God, like, I don't know if I can do it. Just like between taking care of a child and business, I'm like, I have to be checking people's profiles, sliding to their DMs, doing all that. So how do you handle it all? I mean, you've got a baby on the way, you have an 11-month-old, and you're sliding into people's DMs. How are you handling it all?
So I commit to 30 minutes a day. And when I say a day, Monday through Friday, because I think it is very easy, and I'm sure the two of you can agree, where you can just be scrolling on Instagram or whatever platform you're on and just be on there for hours and not really actually do anything. So for 30 minutes, I am intentional. So I actually have a spreadsheet, which again, because if I'm a dating master, right, I want to make sure I know exactly who I'm connecting with. But I know these are the 15 women that I want to interact with. For 10 minutes, I'm liking their post. For 10 minutes, I'm leaving an intentional comment. For 10 minutes, I'm engaging in stories. So that way I'm being super intentional. And sometimes that's only maybe 3 or 4 profiles I get to in those 30 minutes. But that's the best use of my time to make sure that I'm converting at least half, if not more, of those 15 women into my community. That's like, I'm now loyal to Lisa. I didn't know I needed social media management help, but now I do. Or now I'm just a big fan of Lisa. I'm going to refer people to her. And I only do that by spending 30 minutes a day.
Amazing. I think we can all find 30 minutes a day. We had even an organization expert on our podcast, Organized Jane, and she was talking about literally just put a timer down, and when that timer hits, like, you're done. Doesn't matter what it was, you're done. And I like that, because for me, I'm a big, like, accountability person, so I love that. I love that. Let's talk about how we figure out who our ideal follower is. And I'm going to relate this a little bit to the situation that Yasmin and I are in right now. So we are like the video production queens. You know, we're thinking about creating a whole, suite of courses around how to create video. But when I think about my ideal follower, I don't know that they know yet that they need video in their lives. I know they should have it, but I don't know that they know it yet. And so I know that I could, target women specifically, or target men specifically, or target so-and-so. But for me, it seems like it really could be universal to anyone. So how do I figure out who I need to spend my time on?
Yeah, it's honestly the biggest game changer when you either look at past clients or existing clients and start to see if there's a theme with those individuals of, hey, I noticed that of our last 30 students that participated in our courses, they all were making a pivot. They were all making this transition because of the fact of COVID. Like, let's just start there, because I think that's one of the things we talked about. Then start with that person. Over time, it will continue to evolve. But if you can really hone in on that one person, I can assure you, you are not limiting your reach with who's going to reach out to you to sign up for your courses. What you're doing, it's allowing you to kind of go tunnel vision, if you will, to only look for these individuals. Because again, if you only have 30 minutes to spend on the gram, if you follow this process, if you're looking for any type of female, it will feel really daunting to figure out who are those 10 or 15 people you're looking for. But if you're looking for those women that are posting, hey, I need to make a change, because I'll even use the photography industry, wedding photographers, they have to make a pivot because people are now no longer doing the big weddings because they can't. So if you were to hone in on that, that's going to allow you to say, this is who I target. This is the tips I can give them. This is how I'm going to help them. And I can assure you, other people will come just because of how consistent you are with providing love to this community, how consistent you are with tailoring your value to those individuals. So many of my clients are not corporate side hustlers. So many of my clients are other entrepreneurs that are like, damn it, if you can do it while juggling a demanding day job and a side business, I want you as my coach. I have stay-at-home moms that are like, if you can do it and I only have a couple hours because I don't have a babysitter, then I want in. But me focusing specifically on this one person silenced the noise. But step one, I had to look at that theme, right? Like, who do I want to target? I want to target women like me. And then the rest will come.
Amazing. Silencing the noise. It's so funny because that's such a huge theme in every stage of building an online business.
Yep.
And I know, like, even for Yasmin and I, we needed to silence the noise when we set out to create this. Now we're trying to silence the noise when we talk about our niche market. It's just kind of like, it's like
constant.
Don't listen to anything that's going on up here and just do. So I love that you mentioned that, because for me, it really gives me the freedom to start creating content for who I think my avatar is, and not really worry about, like spending the time to really search and figure out who's interested, which can be really daunting, the testing part of it.
Absolutely.
Yasmin wants to ask something.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask. So Lisa, tell us a little bit more about your program and what your audience engages with. So they're ready to get all the juicy goodness from Lisa, and they're ready to act and start engaging, becoming more visible on social. What do they expect? What can they expect?
Exactly. So the program that I'm working on right now that actually launches on July 6th is called a Lead Generation Accelerator. And it's a 4-week program, and it's focused on 4 buckets. Business clarity, so everything we're talking about right now. Who are you serving? Why are you serving them? The second piece is surrounded by pricing and packaging. So do you really know what your package is? Do you know how to price your package? The third thing is social media management. How are you crafting your message? And the third piece is, how do you sell on Instagram? And the whole premise behind it is I drop information to my students in 5-minute videos, Monday through Thursday, over 4 weeks. So that way it is something that they can easily create over 4 weeks, only spending 30 minutes a day. I want them to truly understand that this 30-minute concept is so doable, even from building the foundation of their business to actually applying it on Instagram. So women that work with me are able to really understand who their leads are, how to nurture them, and how to sell to them.
I love that. So you drop a video every day, Monday to Friday?
Monday through Thursday. So that way they
Monday
have
to
the
Thursday.
weekend.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's so
And it's
unique.
5 minutes.
I
Yep.
love it. That's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah.
I kind of want to just do it with you, just to see what it's like. Plus, it's kind of nice to like know that you have something coming every day, you know, and it's actually a video. So that's amazing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Very cool. Let's talk about limiting beliefs really quickly, because again, that's such a huge part of putting yourself out there and then also building a followership. You know, a part of even reaching out and trying to nurture your community is like, are these people going to continue to follow me when they really get to know me? What are some of the limiting beliefs that you found in your practice with your students, and how do you help them overcome it?
Yeah, the one main one that comes out is I've been an expert in my corporate field for X amount of years. Who am I now to say that I'm an expert in this when it's only been day 1, week 2, whatever the case might be? And it's a real fear. It's a real limiting belief that people have. And I think sometimes it even causes them to have that awkward first date impression, if you will, because as they're stumbling into someone's DMs, they find themselves not really knowing what to say, or they're practicing what they need to say before they slide into their DMs. So the first thing that I do with my students or clients is I have them do this fear affirmation exercise. So for 21 days, they write out all their fears in the morning. So I want them to list out 21 fears. And it's hard in the beginning to come up with 21 fears, but over time, you start to say, Lisa, can I do 22, 23 fears? And then what I have them do is in that same moment, flip the page and turn them into I'm grateful statements. So if I said I'm fearful of my business not being successful, flipping it over to saying, I am so grateful that my business is now a successful and profitable business. And having them do that every single day for 21 days. They are going to repeat some of those fears, but I want them to get to a point, which we didn't talk about this. Can I curse?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That I want them to get over the bullshit. Like I want them to be so sick and tired that this is such crap that I've been holding on to this fear for so long because I'm now getting tired of putting it on this piece of paper because it's not true. It's something I told myself from long ago, and now I'm realizing that it's bullshit, et cetera, et cetera. So that's step 1. And then step 2, it's just practice. Like the more that I actually tease them and say, try to get 50 no's. And everyone's like, wait, you want me to get more no's than yeses? Yeah, because there's something less intimidating when you're focused on the no than you are the yes. And you start to see what works well and what doesn't work well. And that's what I've been doing with my clients and students, really to help them build the confidence that they need. So I tell everyone, if you work with me, I'm not going to be the person that's like, get 5 figures in 5 months. I'm not going to pitch something like that to you. It's going to be slow and steady because I think that's something that you need in order to get the reps in, to get the wins in. So that way, when you are ready to take off, you truly have the building blocks to make you successable.
Amazing. Why 21 days? Is there a specific reason why it's that number?
21 days to turn a routine or something into a habit. I think I never made it up. I'm trying to think of who came up with it, but it's that 21 days helps you create a habit or routine.
Yeah, I've heard of that too. It takes 21 days to actually build a habit. You have to
Correct.
do it for 21 days in a row. So I just wanted to double check that was the case.
I wish it was like a Lisa thing, but no.
No, I love that. I feel like that's really good. Again, accountable coaching, because if they're doing something for 21 days, then after the 21 days, they can truly say, okay, I get it. It's
Correct.
part of my life now.
Exactly.
It's so important to work on yourself first, and that's number 1. Building that confidence is key, and we always talk about that. It's getting over the fears and having no attachments to any sort of result. You know, getting a no attachment to it. Getting a yes, amazing, but also no attachment to it. So it's really awesome that your program really holds a strong foundation to make sure that people go through that.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about market research because, like, even right now, as we are creating this podcast, it's so interesting. We were literally talking about this morning, is that we're having people subscribe not only to the podcast, but we're having people subscribe on our website. So they're generously giving us their email, which is amazing.
It's huge.
But I'm like, Yasmin and I were talking about, like, who are these people? Like, how do we get to know them? I want to know more about them. I want to know what they're up to. I want to know what they're interested in so that eventually, you know, we could potentially frame specific content for them. And so our email that responds back says, thank you so much. Like, take a quick survey, but no one is filling out that survey. Do you have any tips for market research?
Yeah. So first of all, I love the fact that you two are also even building an email list because I think it's so smart to have it. The downside is that not everyone's responding to an email list. I think about even me personally, I'm subscribed to so many email lists to owners that I highly respect, but I just don't have the time to actually open their email. So one of the things that I do and I teach my students to do as well is every time someone subscribes, it's going to take some time, but go ahead and creep and try to find them on Instagram. Try to find their account because if they have a unique email address or a unique spelling to their name, you're going to find them. And you will be amazed in how much you can find out about them by just scrolling through their profile. But if you also do that engagement and nurturing, this is mommy brain speaking, nurturing process, it's going to help you build those relationships where I guarantee you it's now going to reinforce that when they see your email pop up, they're going to respond now because now there's even that more personal connection. Before they were like, oh, I love these two girls because of their podcast, or I love these two girls because of their website. Now they're going to be like, I freaking love Natalie because of her kid. I love Yasmin because of the way she just talks. Like, you know what I mean? Like there's going to be a different type of connection where now they're going to be more apt to check your email. I can tell you right now, of the 19% of the people that open my email every single week, it's the people that are consistently engaging with me on Instagram. It's because I built that relationship and now they want to read my email as opposed to everyone else that's like, I'll get to Lisa's email when I can, which I'm not offended. It's probably not going to happen if they're too busy.
Yeah. Lisa, let's talk about consistency when it comes to being consistent on your social platforms and also the importance of using video. Let's talk about that.
Yeah. Being consistent. I mean, if I think of two specific things on Instagram, you actually only have to post 3 times a week in order for Instagram to reward you of being consistent. To me, that's really reasonable. So if you can get 3 posts out a week, that's huge. You both know video is everything. Like there are so many studies out there. There are so many stats that are saying that people are more apt to watch a video, seeing someone's face, seeing someone do something silly or just talking or whatever the case might be, that Instagram stories is where it's at. TikTok is like a great example of where everyone's now thriving to that platform because they want to just aimlessly watch people's videos. So Instagram in particular actually rewards you for showing up on Instagram stories daily. So that's anywhere from 3 to 5 screenshots, if you will, of you either talking or posting a quote or things of that nature. So I really focus on with my clients, if you can post 3 times a week, when it comes to stories, think of themes. How do you give themes to each of the days out of the week? So that way, if you're like, I don't know what to post, if Mondays are your motivational Monday, get on there and talk about motivation. If Tuesdays is your Tip Tuesday, talk about Tip Tuesday. If you give yourself themes, it's going to help you be a little bit more accountable with how you show up because people want to see your face. People are more, again, apt to say, I actually like her because I like the way she talks. She talks too fast or she makes up whatever it is. They're going to be more pulled and drawn to you if you show up on videos.
Wow, that is such amazing advice. And I love how actionable it is because I think that anybody can do that. Like, okay, Monday's Motivation Monday, Tuesday is this, Wednesday is that. And I have to say, like, Yasmin is the Instagram story queen between the two of us. I need to get on that train. I don't do any of it. And then when Yasmin does it, I'm like, repost.
I know. But let me tell you, that's only recent because I feel like I've always wanted to be more present. But that fear of being judged, saying the wrong thing, not, showing up, all of that stuff, like, always got in my way. It was definitely something I had to get over. And I have to say, the one thing that I did get over, the way I got over it was just showing up, like literally just showing up and doing it and not caring what the outcome was going to be. So I'm getting better at it, but thank you. I appreciate
You know what's funny though, real quick on that,
Yeah.
how many times has someone wrote you a nasty comment for showing up on Instagram?
Honestly, I get so many likes and DMs and just people who are typically like, I have conversations with them, but I'm engaged on a whole other level right now. So it's pretty amazing.
Which is great. That's the point. Like, you're not getting someone that's like, I can't believe you posted this, Yasmin. This was not what I wanted to see. If anything, you're getting people that are like, oh, that was a really cool tip, or I'm liking it, or I'm giving it hearts. And it's so rewarding to know that you're making such an impact, one person at a time, that it's worth showing up and realizing that other fear was such bullshit.
For sure. And I think that a lot of people have the option to mute. So if
Correct.
they don't like something, they will just, quietly leave the room.
Yeah.
And that's perfect. Yeah. If you don't want to listen, that's totally cool. But there's others who are going to be interested, which is awesome too.
It's huge. Yeah, which is huge.
I think for me, what's holding me back, and I really need to get over that voice in my head, is like just providing value. I'm like, I don't want to just get on Instagram stories and talk about like me walking to the grocery store. Like, I actually want to provide value, and then finding that deep inside part of myself that's going to be providing value every single day is daunting. That's a lot. So I really like how you're saying just have a theme for yourself. I think I can find something with a theme every day. Or at least 3 times a week. I could do 3 times a week.
There you go. See? Baby steps.
Baby steps. Baby steps. Amazing. Okay, so let's take it down to, we know that our listeners are people who are like us, have pivoted their business and looking to online business, looking to online courses and programs as something they would potentially be interested in doing. As somebody who's just starting out, complete newbie, no followers, no email list, no nothing, where would you have them start?
Ooh, honestly, I would have them start with really identifying who is it that they want to serve and how is it that they're going to serve them. Answering those, I know it's almost a 2-parter, but it's still within the same realm, is really going to help you as you start any course, because as you start building out your business, that's kind of that guiding light, if you will, in that tunnel of, all right, I'm not going to focus on all the other shiny things I can have. I'm really focusing on, if this is the person I want to serve and this is how I'm going to serve them, what tools do I need to ensure that solution is developing the right way in order for me to build my business.
Thank you. That's really specific and amazing. And I think, Yasmin and I have kind of learned that the hard way. We sort of set out to creating our course before even thinking about who we're providing value for. And now here we are asking ourselves, who is that person? And does that content still match that person? So I think that is such important advice. And for anyone who's listening, if you could do one thing right, do that. Because now we're speaking from experience. We didn't do that. So thank you for that. That's really amazing.
Absolutely.
So let's also talk about, I would really love for you to actually share some of your results with our listeners, because I think a lot of the way that we listen changes when we can hear actual metrics. How many people have you helped? How many people have you changed their lives? What about you? Tell us about that.
Yeah. So what's funny is I tell my husband I don't do math in public because numbers is like, doo-doo-doo-doo. But I couldn't tell you year to date how many, or actually over the last 6 years, how many people that I've helped. But I try to help at least 4 to 5 women as clients or students a month. And then I can't even tell you how many people that I'm truly just pouring into in the DMs and giving them love and like value over time. And the reason behind me giving so much love and value to people for free is that I'm building that trust factor on such a higher level that I want them to know that I don't want to just take your money. Like, when you decide that you're investing in me, that you're actually going to show up. But my metric specifically is helping those 5 or less women a month to make sure that I'm bringing in the income goals that I have. And then also making sure that I'm keeping myself accountable. My goal is to stretch a little bit more. I would love to start scaling things and doing funnels and doing all this other kind of fun stuff. So that's down the road. But I try to keep it reasonable just because, again, with me juggling all the things, not ideal. And then another metric is I'm able to bring on at least anywhere from 50 to 75 new followers each week because of the fact that I am consistently showing up. If you start following me on Instagram stories, you'll know that my theme is I do micro trainings Tuesday through Thursday. And that allows me to build a bigger reach. So that way people are coming to me to say, hey, I'm now interested in what Lisa's doing. I know earlier I said it's not about gaining new followers, but that's just a perspective of how I am able to continue to grow my business and bring new eyes to my page and things of that nature. So hopefully that helps answer that.
So what I love about your brand is it's a great reflection of you personally. You know, you're not shy of sharing photos of your family, sharing photos of you enjoying life, which I think is a huge part of it. And at the same time, it's also very professional. There's a nice balance because of the value that you bring to the table. You have your podcast, so you're having the right conversations. There's just a lot of different elements. And one thing that I want to touch on right now for our listeners is, you know, sometimes going through the transition of building a new brand, you already have a follower base from your personal Instagram page, for example. And a lot of people ask, should I create a new account or should I piggyback on this? Now I'm talking more of a personal brand versus creating a whole new business and a new name and a side hustle. But how do you navigate that?
So what I would say is, people do not join a social media platform because they're looking for a business. They're not joining a platform because they're looking to buy something. They're joining a social media platform because they're looking to connect with either friends or family members and things of that nature. So I always recommend that you keep your personal account and build on that if you're a service provider. If you're a brick and mortar, it probably makes more sense to start a new account because it's going to be more focused on that. But think about the fact that if you're building and really cultivating relationships on Instagram specifically, the more that you can share about the personal side, the more people are going to trust you because they're going to be connected with you. And the more that you have that balance is really going to help. Because again, if I was to follow an account that was only talking about business Monday through Friday, and they only posted about their business on their feed, I'm probably not going to check them out. But again, I'm also a reality TV junkie, so I actually enjoy when. So Natalie, if you were to take me on a walk with you in the morning, I probably would be that weirdo that's like, oh, that's such a cute walk. Look at her sneakers. But that's what I need in order to be connected with you. And then when you pitch your course, I'm going to be like, oh my gosh, I love Natalie. So I'm definitely going to sign up for a course because I actually need that. So I think the more that you have that balance, the more that people are associating that I trust her, I like her, and I believe she has the solution to my problem that I now have today.
Amazing. I love how you sort of make it all fit together. You know, I have a hard time getting around that, letting people into my personal life, especially when it comes to my daughter. I barely post anything about her on social media at all because in my mind, I'm like, she didn't have a choice. I just put her out there without asking for her permission. But she's such a huge part of my life. Like being a mother is such a huge identification point for me. So I grapple with that. Like how do I change my mindset around that? She's still a human being. I didn't ask for her permission, but she's such a huge part of my identity.
But what I love is if you could flip it a little bit and share more of, so for example, what came to mind as you were saying that to me, how great of a picture would it be if it's you working, your face is facing the camera, but your daughter's back is to the camera, and you're like, oh, just working today with my daughter. And then a week later, you're like, hey, I'm getting a lot of questions around why I never show my daughter's face on camera, but I'm showing her behind the scenes because my daughter's important to me. My daughter is a part of me. My daughter's my other half. My daughter's my heart. But unfortunately, she doesn't have the ability to give me the permission yet if her face can be on social media. So I'm letting you guys know that she's there because that's my ride or die. But until she's ready to tell me her face can be on camera, unfortunately, you guys won't be able to see that. And I just got goosebumps. That's so
sweet.
That's so freaking powerful. Like, and that's what, and people are going to be like, oh my God, I was grappling with that too, Natalie. And because of you, I now posted a picture of my kid kicking water in the pool, but not his face. And thank you for letting me do that. Cause I've always wanted to do something. I just didn't know what it was. And you're almost empowering other people by you embracing your fear, but to a point that feels right.
I love that. I literally have goosebumps as well. And it just, everything you just said, like, I can totally see myself doing that. And I can totally feel comfortable with that. So thank you so much for that. Because I think that's been holding me back a lot. And I like that so much. Now, how do I get a toddler to face back and not run around? That's something I have to overcome on my own.
Episode 2.
Episode 2, how to get your toddler to pose for Instagram. That's going to be something to overcome for sure. Okay, so I feel like we've gotten so much amazing nuggets of wisdom from you. Is there anything else that you would really recommend for someone who's building their Instagram following and their email list, outside of just sliding their DMs? Is there like curated content that you found to be really engaging with your audience?
I'm going to answer it this way and say my best advice is think of the one thing, the one person that you want to serve, the one solution that you have, and the one platform that you're going to use, and keep kind of reminding yourself the one. Because when you're just starting out, it can be really daunting to thinking that you need all these things. You may even think you need a website. You maybe think you need an email list, but you know what? You probably just need to start. And you can start by just saying, this is the one person I'm going to serve. This is the one package I'm going to offer right now until I see if it's even beneficial and if it's really solving the solution or solving the problem. And then 3, this is the one platform I'm going to use. So that way I'm not stretching myself too thin, even if you're not juggling a demanding day job. It's really focusing on that one thing, I think, has been the biggest thing that I had to learn the hard way over the last 6 years.
Yeah, that's amazing. So what's next in terms of the pivot? At what point? So right now you still have your main hustle, your day job, and you have the side hustle. What is the side hustle going to take over?
Yeah, I honestly don't know. A part of me is thinking, because right now I'm in a really great spot where I am very fortunate that my boss, prior to my current boss, is my client, who ended up leaving corporate. My current boss, knows that I'm building my business and has actually invested in my business by paying for coaches and courses that I have. So I'm in a great spot where my day job really allows me to show up the way that I need to in my side business. But as Natalie talked about earlier, I'm also still scared to have 2. And so who is to say when the second one comes that I don't say to myself that, hey, you know what? The hustle is going to continue, but it's going to look different. And I'm going to only focus on my side business. But right now, I truly feel like I'm just taking it one day at a time and enjoying that it feels right. And I feel like I'm not stretching myself too thin.
That's an amazing place to be. And the fact that it's so integrated, I mean, it just works. And I think that the message here is that you can have it all. Like you can, if you set your mind to it, anything is possible. I think a lot of people think that, we've always had this mentality, you can't sit on 2 chairs at once. It doesn't mean that you are sitting on 2 chairs at once. It's about how you're managing your time, how you're managing your efforts and expectations, and really setting out your intentions to do something. So this is a really amazing example of you being able to conquer it all.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, personal question, because you kind of just touched on it now. And this is something that's like baffling to me as we're creating our podcast, our course, and building our own little online empire. Have you thought about how you're going to juggle it once the new baby comes? Because I'm also family planning. And I'm just like, I can't even imagine what I'm going to do if we have another baby and then, having an online business.
Yeah, luckily I do have 2 team members on my team. So when I do batch out my podcast, for example, I have someone that edits my podcast, and I do have a VA. So we are slowly creating standard operation procedures on what can they potentially pick up if I have to pull the reins back and maybe not be able to show up as much as I can. So we're going to navigate through that as to what that looks like. But I feel really confident that with what we're doing today, they will be able to help pick up the workload if I need to. But there's already a lot of batching happening now. So that way, when I do take my leave, I'm truly taking my leave not only from my day job, but I'm also taking my leave from my side business to make sure that I'm present with my newborn.
Amazing. So setting up processes in place that allow you to step away. And I think that that is ultimately the dream for many, many people out there. You know, when we talk about online business, we're trying to create sort of this passive income, right? And a system in place, a process in place that continues to reward and give back. So not only creating this amazing content that's going to give back, but also a system that's in place when you need to step away. So I love that you mentioned that. That's definitely something that we're also working on. I know Yasmin's also family planning and thinking about the future. So it's what I love about these conversations when they come to online business, is that the possibilities are endless, right? There's a lot of opportunity and flexibility to how you want to structure your business.
Exactly.
And that is freedom in a nutshell, right?
Agreed. Hands down.
Our last question that we ask all of our experts that come onto the show is, if you could leave our listeners with one last wisdom bomb, what would it be?
Lean into that thought. I think we all have that one thing that's wrestling right now in our head that we want to do, that one big leap or that one thing we need to lean into. And I say, trust your gut. I am so grateful that 6 years ago, I took that faith and just jumped into it, because I didn't know what the heck I was going to do or how I was going to build it. But I am so grateful that I trusted my intuition, and I want you to trust yours.
Love it. We will do that. We will do that. So thank you for the quick coaching. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Lisa, you're so inspiring. Thank you so much for your time. Your energy is contagious. So
thank you. Appreciate
it. Really enjoyed having you on the podcast. And where can people find you?
Best place is on Instagram at The Corporate Side Hustler.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Well, thank you again. It was such a pleasure speaking with you, and we really enjoyed having you on the show. And we'll make sure to drop the link to your Instagram in the show notes so people can follow you and become a part of your community.
Yes,
thank you so much.
Congratulations on the upcoming program launch. Super excited for that. So you'll have to let us know when that's launched, and we can also add all the appropriate links to the show notes so our listeners can check it out.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye, ladies.
That's a wrap on another episode of the Course Creation Podcast. Thank you for tuning in and being a champion of ours. If you enjoyed this episode, please hit subscribe and find us on Apple Podcasts to leave us a review. We really want to hear from you. And we're going to be digging through reviews for our next guest to feature. So if you're interested in being a guest, then you know what to do. Also, join our private Facebook community called the Course Creation Crew to connect with other course creators. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram at coursecreation.com. That is all. We appreciate you all so much and look forward to having you here next time.